राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजना यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजना यमुनतीरा वनचारी यमुनतीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजना यमुनतीरा वनचारी यमुनतीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजना यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजना यमुनतीरा वनचारी यमुनतीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी सोदनंदन व्रज जनरंजना यमुनतीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे राधा श्याम सुंदर राधा श्याम सुंदर राधे राधा श्याम सुंदर राधा श्याम सुंदर राधे जय कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम जय जगन्नाथ जय बलादेवा जय सुभद्रा जय जगन्नाथ जय बलादेवा जय सुभद्रा जय गौरनिता जय गौरानिता जय गौरानिता जय गौरनिता जय सचिनंदन जय सचिनंदन जय सचिनंदन गौर हरे जय सचिनंदन जय सचिनंदन जय सचिनंदन गौर हरे गौरा गौरा गौर हरि गौरा गौरा गौर हरि नित्य गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल नित्य गौर हरि बोल नदी बिहारी गौर हरि नदी बिहारी गौर हरि मायापुर चंद्रा गौर हरि गौरा गौरा गौर हरि गौरा गौरा गौर हरि निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल जय प्रभु पदा जय प्रभु पदा जय प्रभु पदा जय प्रभु पदा जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद Tagore Pramanande Hari Hari Bo Devam Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivraj Kacharya Stotra Satasri Srimad Nirvana इसी भक्ति वेदांत संस्प्रपाद की जय देवों विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राज काचार्य स्तोत्र सतश्री श्रीमद भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय आनंद कोटि वैष्णव वंद की जय नामाचार्य हरिदास ठाकुर की जय प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरिवर्धन की जय ब्रजभूमि श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय श्री क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय गंगमय यमुनमय की जय भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय समवेत भक्त वृंद की जय हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय Tagore Premanande Hari Hari Bo. All glories to Assembly Lord is Hare Krishna. All glories to Assembly Lord is Hare Krishna. All glories to Assembly Lord is Hare Krishna. All glories to Assembly Hare Krishna. All glories, all glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Gopal ki jai. Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vishaya Putre. Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nidhanam Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Prajaran. Nirvisesha Sunyavad Pachacya Desthane. Thank you for joining. Reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6. Okay, reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, Ashtanga Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, Ratha Yoga, verse number 24. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayit Nasta Prayeshu Avadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Hari Om Tat Sat. Verse number 24. Sa nischayena yoktavyo yogo anirvinna chetasa sankalpa prabhavan kamam त्यक्त्वा सर्वान् अशेषतः मनसैव इन्द्रियग्रामं विनियम्य समन्ततः सा निश्चयेन युक्तव्यो योगो अनिर्विण्णचेतसा सङ्कल्पप्रभवान् कामान् त्यक्त्वा सर्वान् शेषतः मनसैव इन्द्रियग्रामं विनियम्य समन्ततः सा निश्चयेन युक्तव्यो योगो अनिर्विण्णचेतसा Sankalpa prabhavan kamam tyaktva sarvanaseshatah manase indriya gramam viniyamya samantatah. Word to word. Sa, that nischayena, with firm determination, yuktavya, must be practiced. Yoga system, anirvinna chetasa, without deviation. Sankalpa, mental speculations. Bhagavan, born of. Kaman, material desires. Tyaktva, giving up. Sarvan, all. Aseshataha, completely. Manasa, by the mind. Eva, certainly. Indriya gramam, the full set of senses. Viniyamya, regulating. Samantataha, from all sides. Translation by Srivangi Jesi Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. One should engage oneself in the practice of yoga with determination and faith and not be deviated from the path. One should abandon without exception all material desires born of mental speculation and thus control all the senses on all sides by the mind. Please repeat. One should engage oneself in the practice of yoga with determination and faith and not be deviated from the path. One should abandon without exception all material desires born of mental speculation and thus control all the senses on all sides by the mind. Verse number 25. Sanai sanairuparamid buddhya dhriti gृहीतया आत्मा संस्थं मनः कृत्वा न किञ्चिदपि चिन्तयेत् शनैरुपरमेद् बुद्ध्या धृति गृहीतया आत्मा संस्थं मनः कृत्वा न किञ्चिदपि चिन्तयेत् शनैरुपरमेद् बुद्ध्या धृति गृहीतया आत्मा संस्थं मनः कृत्वा न किञ्चिदपि चिन्तयेत् शनैरुपरमेद् बुद्ध्या धृति गृहीतया आत्मसंस्थं मनः कृत्वा न किञ्चिदपि चिन्तयेत्. Word to word. Sanaihi, gradually. Sanaihi, step by step. Uparamed, one should hold back. Buddhya, by intelligence. Dhruti grihitaya, carried by conviction. Atma samstam, placed in transcendence. Mana, mind. Kritva, making. Na, not. Kinchit, anything else. Api, even. Chintaye, should think of. Translation by Sri A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Gradually, step by step, one should become situated in trance by means of intelligence, sustained by full conviction. And thus, the mind should be fixed on the self alone and should think of nothing else. Please repeat. Gradually, step by step, one should become situated in trance by means of intelligence, sustained by all conviction, sustained by full conviction. And thus, the mind should be fixed on self alone, should think of nothing else. Verse number 26, reading till 28 and then stop. यतो यतो निश्चलति मनश्चञ्चलम् अस्थिरम् ततस्ततो नियम्य एतत् आत्मनि एव वशं नयेत् यतो यतो निश्चलति मनश्चञ्चलम् अस्थिरम् ततस्ततो नियम्य एतत् आत्मनि एव वशं नयेत् यतो यतो निश्चलति मनश्चञ्चलम् अस्थिरम् ततस्ततो नियम्य एतत् आत्मनि एव वशं नयेत्. Word to word. Yato yato, wherever nischalati becomes verily agitated, mana, the mind, chinchalam, flickering, astiram, unsteady, tata tata, from there, niyamya, regulating, yata, this, atmani, in the self, eva, certainly, vasam, control, nayet, must bring under. Translation by Mr. Prabhupada. From wherever the mind wanders due to its flickering and unsteady nature, one must certainly withdraw it and bring it back under the control of the self. From wherever the mind wanders Due to its flickering and unsteady nature, one must certainly withdraw it and bring it back under the control of the self. Very important. From wherever the mind wanders due to its flickering and unsteady nature, one must certainly withdraw it and bring it back under the control of the self. Verse number 20. Okay, Krishna. Everybody is on mute. My controls go.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, Krishna. Verse number 27. प्रशान्तमनसं हीनं योगिनं सुखमुत्तमम् उपैति शान्तरजसं ब्रह्मभूतम् अकल्मषम् प्रशान्तमनसं हीनं योगिनं सुखमुत्तमम् उपैति शान्तराजसं रजसं ब्रह्मभूतम् अकल्मषम् प्रशान्तमनसं हीनं योगिनं सुखमुत्तमम् उपैति शान्तरजसं ब्रह्मभूतम् अकल्मषम्. What word? Prasanta, peaceful, fixed on the lotus feet of Krishna. Manasam, whose mind? He certainly. Enam, this. Yoginam, yogi. Sukham, happiness. Uttamam, the highest. Upaiti, attains. Shantarajasam, his passion pacified. Brahma Bhutam, liberation by identification with Absolute. Akalmasham, freed from all past sinful reactions. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. The yogi whose mind is fixed on me verily attains the highest perfection of transcendental happiness, is beyond the mode of passion. He realizes his qualitative identity with the Supreme, and thus is freed from all reactions to past deeds. Please repeat. The yogi whose mind is fixed on me verily attains the highest perfection of transcendental happiness, is beyond the mode of passion. He realizes his qualitative identity with the Supreme, and thus is freed from all reaction to past deeds. Verse number 28. That's the last verse, and we'll try to understand. युञ्जन्नेवं सदात्मानं योगी विगतकल्मषः सुखेन ब्रह्म संस्पर्शम् अत्यन्तं सुखमाश्नुते. Samsparsam is very important, but it has a other part to it, so it has a difference. So try to understand. Yunjannevam sadatmanam yogi vigatakalmashaha sukena brahma samsparsam atyantam sukhamasnute. Yunjannevam sadatmanam yogi vigatakalmashaha sukena brahma samsparsam atyantam sukhamasnute. Word to word. Yunjan, engaging in yoga practice, evam, thus, sada, always, atmanam, the self, yogi, one who is in touch with the supreme self, vigata, freed from, kalmasaha, all material contamination, sukhena, in transcendental happiness, brahma samsparsam, being in constant touch with the supreme, atyantam, the highest, sukham, happiness, asnute, attains. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Thus, the self-controlled yogi, constantly engaged in yoga practice, becomes free from all material contamination and achieves the highest stage of perfect happiness in transcendental loving service to the Lord. Thus, the self-controlled yogi, constantly engaged in yoga practice, becomes free from all material contamination and achieves the highest stage of perfect happiness in transcendental loving service to the Lord. This is the last verse. Try to understand these verses. Thank you for joining. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gnananjanasalakaya Chukshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langete Grim Et Krupatamaham Vande Sri Gurum Denutaram Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Iswaram Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhayeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo Vishnu की जय. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Masadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Sri Chaitanya Mano Vishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Yam Dadati Swapadantikam. Shri Rupa Goswami Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Munda ki jai. Shri Ramananda Raya Prabhupada ki jai. So today is his Tirobhav. It's a very, very important day to remember him, beg mercy from him, such an exalted personality, as a confidential associate of Srimati Radharani. I'll try to discuss that also, the significant pastimes of Ramananda Raya, significant discussions. So first, let's try to understand. The Gita, chapter number 6, is called Dhyana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, Ratha Yoga. So the primarily first six chapters are concentrated on how to perfect the activities, engagement of our activities, the gross bodily senses, how to be engaged in various activities in offering in service to Krishna, how to at least come to the stage of move away from the bodily concept of life, from the karma kanda vichar, and come to the, at least on the dharma of the kama moksha platform, perform at least on the mode of goodness, come to the at least mode of goodness and perform religious activities at least as per the scriptures, what to eat, what not to eat, and when to sleep, how long to sleep. So all these are described one by step, slowly and gradually. It's increasing. The pace is increasing. The rigor is increasing. The controls are increasing more and more. If you look at it in the chapter 2, it has been summarized already, but it has been more detailed, elaborately being described now, one in each and every chapter from second chapter, because second chapter is the contents of Gita summarized. So in chapter 6, there are 7 sections. The 1 to 4 is advancing in yoga through the detached work. And 5 to 9 is second section is yoga ruda stage, or giving up work. There's a higher stage in the yoga ladder. The third section, which we are in today, also continuing 10 to 32, further stages in practicing of yoga are the process of Ashtanga Yoga Sadhana, Ashtanga Yoga Sadhana, or Arurukshu, which is beginning stage, to Ruda, Yoga Ruda, highest stage. So that's why there is step by step, there is a linkage from 10 to 32, gradually it is being progressed. And then 32 to 36 is the necessity of controlling the turbulent mind. Arjuna is asking a sixth question so far in this chapter, in the sixth chapter. Sixth question is being asked in 33 to 36. And then the fifth section is 37 to 45, destination of unsuccessful yogi. And then the last section is 46 to 47, topmost yogi. In this way, this chapter is titled. So this chapter is categorized or grouped. So in the last, I think 2 weeks ago, there was a gap. 1 week there was a cancellation, and then we are discussing. 2 weeks ago, we were discussing this 16 to 23, where we discussed about the regulation. One must follow certain type of regulation, because without following the certain methods, some process, just like in any industry, whether it's a business or IT, whether it's even a temple, we have certain process. At certain time, we have to open and do for Mangalarti. At certain time, business is going to open, whether it's a bank or a non-profit or a personal or government, public or private, doesn't matter. Everybody has certain hours, certain time people have to come. There is a regulation in each and every place. And rather, if you look at only human beings are not following the regulation. If you look at the all other living entities, even if you put bags and bags of rice, they'll eat only what they can on that day, on that time. Means at the after sunrise, they will wake up before sunrise, and then before after sunset, they will not eat and they will go to sleep. And they will eat only in the morning. They can whatever they could eat. There is no collection business. So This is the generally the regulation is there in every living entity. Human being also supposed to follow that regulation. But in Kali Yuga, it is very, very challenging, very, very challenging because of the circumstance and because of the, everybody is not following the religious principle because to begin with, the members of the family itself, because from whom we are coming in the dynasty, that whole thing, because it trickles down one by one. As the regulations are not followed, like Garbhadan, Samskara, all the Samskara, because Chitta has to be purified. Mind is the biggest problem. Mind is in the center of all the senses are clubbed together like an antenna. Mind. So all the senses are signals are coming from all these Jnanendriyas, especially the ears, the eyes, the nose, the touch. So all these senses are coming, giving signals to the mind, and mind is bombarded left and right. I want to do this, I want to enjoy this, I want to do that. So keep on bombarded. So the mind is always flickering, going here and there. It's not in a stable condition because it's not. We are not operating. There is no systematic set of activities. There is no systematic timeline of activities. When, what, and what basis. So because of this, there is no regulated activities, then automatically mind is being subdued by the external energy. Mind is being forced upon by the external energy into ignorance and passion, greed and illusory activities. So that's where the problem is. That's why this chapter for even the bhakti yogis also, it's a very important chapter, even though it is specifically emphasized here on the 6 steps in this last section where we're discussing about the regulation activities. So we are just summarizing it. We discussed about the 6 hours of sleep after 30 years. I hope nobody is here below 30 years. We're all above. So at least 6 hours sleep is the standard, not above. So once in a while it's okay, but we have to practice. Everybody has to practice, try to come to that. Not more, not less. Because balance, we have to balance. That has been described in the previous section. We have to balance. Neither we have to eat more, neither we should eat less. We shouldn't be disgusted either. That's why in this verse also in the beginning of 24th, we'll see that. Now, anirvinna chetasa. So, anirvinna chetasa, word is used. We shouldn't be rejecting things. At the same time, we shouldn't be using overly. We have to balance our diet. We have to balance our eating food habits and drinking water. So all this must be done, and the sleep habits, where it's mentioned there's a what is that? Not ahar nidra. Mm, eating habits, sleeping habits. There's a verse we mentioned, but anyway, these must be regulated. So then we are coming to mode of goodness as we gradually more and more. Somebody is not on mute. If we can go on mute on this machine somehow, it doesn't give that controls. But anyway, so that is the first and foremost thing we discussed the last section. What is it bringing? Yama, niyama, asana, pranayam. So the pranayam and pratyahara. So pranayam requires a repetition of the activity of breathing in, breathing out, kumbhaka, rechaka, all this. So that we have to sit in one place. But what is important for bhakti yogis is the first and foremost verse. The primary qualification for 6 Ashtanga Yoga, this sadhana, this whole process is don't be attached to the results. That is the first and foremost. If we are not doing it, at least to some extent, then you cannot regulate it, period. Because if we are attached, then we will be running. Because senses, eyes will say something, I am attached to this, let's go. Ears will say, no, I want to do this, let's go. So the 5 different directions, it is bombarding, the mind is being signaled, then it's very difficult for mind to decide which way to go. Because that is the mind job, sankalpa, vikalpa, accepting, rejecting, thinking, feeling, willing. That is the job of mind. So in order for mind to control, so that's why, so the first and foremost activities of the eating, the sleeping, recreation, recreation also. I'm still trying to recollect that verse. Recreation, all these habits must be regulated gradually. We are all have to regulate it. So more we are in the association, it helps. More and more the checks and balances. So that's why here in this section, what is being described now, this is about the gross body. If the gross body, the timeline about mostly our activities are surrounded by this gross body. This karmendriyas, jnanendriyas is outside body what we are seeing. But there is inside body. If the outside body itself, if we are just like we enter into the house, everything is dirty, then how much we feel? We feel it's, let me go out, get out from this place. You'll not be able to stay much longer. If you go to somebody's house, everywhere dirtiness is there. Things are everywhere. You can't sit, you can't breathe air, and everything is dirty, smelling, this, that. So same way, so if our regulation is not there, then too much agitation, the passion and ignorance, then there is no stability. Then you can't do. Then because the attachments are there, too much overly attached to things. We're not able to delegate. We're not able to distribute. We're not able to simplify. We're more and more complicated with things. Let it run. Lord Krishna is taking care of all living entities. Our father, our parent, what can we do? We cannot even control anything. But we have to do our duty. But we are too much dependent, too much attached. We are not giving. Let it be. What is in our hands, we should try to do. But rest, worry. Don't be worried. Don't be in anxiety. That we have to leave it because it is already mentioned. यथा दुःखम यथा अयत्नता the anya sukam, as you get happiness and distress, both are already guaranteed. Bank balance according to your bank balance of the previous karma, prarabdha karma, for this life given, because each life there is some balance will be given. If whole thing is given, you can't even survive. So that as per that balance, how much is there, pious and impious, then you get accordingly. You'll be born with certain bank balance credits, how you appear, what family you appear, what kind of job, whether you will be able to buy a house or not, all these things, everything, whether you'll get married, whether you'll have kids or not, all these are based on the bank balance only. Then on top of it, how you use this free will, bank balance is given. You could end up in using in ignorance activities, then you are minimizing, then means your future is even more bleak, is even more downgraded. But if you use the same thing in Krishna's activities, it completely changes your bank balance. It completely changes. It purifies and it increases tremendously. Yastu Indra Gopam Atavendra Hospa Karma Bandhanupam Palavajana Matanot Karmanu Nidhat Kinti Bhakti Vajam Govindamadi Purhantamam Bhajan. So by engaging in transcendental activities, anything in connection with Krishna and his representatives, automatically, yes, to all the way from Indra Gopa to Indra, anybody who is engaging, Karman Nirdahati, it completely annihilates everything. Just like in Prahlad Maharaj, even though he is born in demoniac family, so he has all 21 generations, 7 generations after, 14 generations before, 21 generations are going to be liberated. Nursing Dev is giving that assurance, and example is already there. His son is Virochana, Virochana's son is Bali Maharaj. Bali Maharaj became a Mahajan, even though seemingly externally punished, but he is sitting Patal Lok, but Lord is right there in front of his door, is protecting, and next he will become Indra, and then he will go back to Godhead. So he has been given all the assurances. So Lord Krishna, especially one his devotee makes promise, then he can't. He may break his promise, but he will not break devotee's promise. So that's why it's very important to follow. So in the previous section we discussed about this regulation for the mostly the pranayam. Then we are coming until almost yama, niyama, asana, pranayam, more or less about the gross body. Subtle body, there is a connection, little bit. But more or less, it's about the gross body, controlling a little bit. And then there is a pranayam, there is a subtle body also, but more to do with the setting and regulation, karmendriya, controlling these karmendriyas, jnanendriyas. So that's more to do with the gross body. Now coming into the picture, last section to this section, it's more and more. Now it is coming how to perfect our pratyahar and then come to dhyana and dharana. then samadhi. That has been stressed in this section, in this 24. We look at the 24th to 28th in today's verse. It has been clearly mentioned here uh, that the 24th verse, where, let me see, hold on. No, Anirvin, no. So, yeah, Nischaya and Anirvinna Chetasa. Yeah, that is what is mentioned. Nischaya. Nischaya means fixed up determination. Because if it's talking about subtle body. Because if subtle body, mind, intelligence, false ego is the subtle body, how you will become fixed up determination is by associating with devotees, by constantly engaging in the regulated activities with the practice. We must have enthusiasm. Then we must associate with those who have enthusiasm. Utsahan, Nisya, Dairya, Tat, Kat, Tat, Tat, Karma, Pravartana. So that's why in this verse it is mentioned Nischay and fixed up determination. And then it is mentioned as Anirvinna Chetasa, without deviation. Because if you are deviating, so you may have fixed up determination, but you are deviating from religious principle, then no use. You have fixed determination to engage in all kinds of activities. There is no connection to or injunctions of Shastra that you are not supposed to do. Then no use. So that's it, the fixed up determination, enthusiasm to follow Nishchaya, fixed up, and then patience. One must tolerate. There will be difficulties as we go through this process. It won't be easy because we have to tolerate. Because with whom we associate, till now we followed, like practice more and more passion and ignorance. We might be going out, friends, to restaurants or this place, that place, or vacations, more and more recreations. Suddenly we say we are not available or this or that. So yes, they will pull because that is the job of them, and then that is the job of the external energy. So using its resources, external energy is prakshepatmika and avaranatmika shakti. One is to control, one is to pull you, and the other one is to allure you. One is to cover you up with ignorance. Other one is to allure you. Oh, this is nice. Let's go this. Let's eat this. Let's drink this. Let's smell this. Let's touch this. So in this way, constantly it is putting these two things because of the association also. So that's why they will definitely pull. So that's why we have to associate with those who has really advanced in this enthusiastic activities. They are engaged in seriously with fixed up determination. Usahan Nishya, that's why it is mentioned Anirvinna Chetasa without deviation. And then Sankalpa Prabhavam Kamam Tyakta, giving up material desires born of speculation. This is where in second chapter, first and foremost principle have been mentioned clearly. Give up speculation. If you want to be in Pratyahar, if you want to control your mind, internal pulse, ego, then you must give up speculation. You cannot go by mind's whims. You have to go and follow by sadhu and shastra and guru's instruction only. There is no other way about it. Because then otherwise you can't progress. Mind will do. Just like the simple example we all have gone through. You have a bicycle or even a car or whatever the vehicle you may have. We take a tire. If a car is punctured or a cycle tire is punctured, what you will do? You take the tire. The outside tire is same. Outside tire is not so much. Maybe bike, the old ones, everything has to be replaced. But the newer ones, the inside tube is there. I don't know. Some bike may be different, but at least the cars and the trucks, the outside layer is still there. Gross body is there. The problem is with the inside body, mind and the pulse ego. Then you have to take it to the person. Some people may be doing on their themselves. Then you have to push it through the water to see where the puncture is, where the holes is. Same way the mind, intelligent, false ego, they have to run through that water and check it to find the holes where it is. Then they have to make the fix that holes. Sometimes they have to replace the whole thing. It's gone, means you can't. It's in the corners or too many holes. They can't fix it. The whole tube has to change. So sometimes the whole tire also has to change. If it happened in that whatever the whatever item it touched that tire where it bursted, edges or where all those things change accordingly. But the point is, it has to run through the check, go through that water check they have to do and then see where the things are. Same way, the mind, intelligence, false ego, the checks and balances is the Shastra. Checks and balances is the Sadhu. Checks and balances is the Guru. Sadhu, Shastra, and Guru. It must be in collaboration with that, under the guidance on regular basis. We must be in touch. So that's why this morning also we discussed that. Prasangam ajaram pasam. So it's very difficult, the association with whom we are in dealing with, because we have to do the job, whether it's business or IT, whatever job we are doing. So we are associating with those. They are not in mode of goodness, most of 99%. Even if they are in mode of goodness, they are not. They have no idea and connection with God. Even if they have idea of God, then God is only supreme. Just give me, keep on the whole life. Give me this, give me this, give me this. There is no reciprocation. There is no love. There is no exchange. Keep on giving only. There is no actual return of exchange. That means, just like the simple example, you go to somebody's house, you don't do anything. You go to somebody's house, you don't do anything for him, then you could ask him, give me this, give me that. How long is going to give? First of all, he will not give. He will not give. Supreme Lord is Supreme Father, that's why he's giving. He's waiting, okay, at least Baba, this life you will realize. Maybe next life. He's waiting like this many lifetimes. He's given the facilities, but we are not realizing that. If somebody comes to somebody's house, and then if he's not doing any activity, any service, any work for him, and he is asking, give me this, give me that, he will not give. Do something first, then he can give something. First, seeing what really you are doing, then by seeing your attitude and you are doing service, then by is pleased. Yasya deve para bhakti yatha deve tatha guru tasya vahi katida prakasante mahatmana. When will revelation will come? When will Krishna will reveal the confidential knowledge? When the Guru, his representative, is pleased. He is not different from Krishna. He is higher than the demigods. That is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. Lord Krishna himself is mentioning Narada Muni, when Vasudev, Lord Krishna's father, Vasudev met Narada Muni, and then Narada Muni is telling to, after meeting Narada Muni, then Vasudev is telling, please describe, please. Then he has questions. Then Narada Muni introduced them to, then he describes, he instructs Vasudev. But before that, he is telling, beautiful verse in the 11th canto. So the where Chayeva Karma Sachiva Sadavo Dina Vatsala. So the demigods will give happiness and distress to the karma, to the activities what you are performing. They will not give anything more. It is like a shadow, exactly like is running like a shadow. Shadow. Sun is going, sun is set. There is no shadow. They can't give. You can't even be shadow. You can't give anything. So same way, so what you are performing, if you are performing 10%, you are supposed to give the 10%. If you are performing minus 10, that means irreligious principle. Then the people have to fight like a war, and you have to run through the great big wars, and people will die in tons and tons, bigger numbers, because there is no religious process, no religious principle. People are following all kinds of things, whatever they want. I want this, I want that, I want to eat this, that, everything. No process. As per the cows are not protected, and then this is bound to happen. Shastra is clearly telling, especially when the cows and the saintly personalities are being attacked, then they have to face the severe reaction all at one shot. This will happen. The Shastra is again and again is being repeating this, and in incidents after incident, we see an example. Not only Kali Yuga, previous instances, Shastra is describing. So that's a prasangam ajaram pasam. So this is like a pasam, three ropes tied together. It's very difficult to cut those knots. That's why sayeva sadhu sukrut. Mokshadaram apavratam. Then your path to liberation is open. The doors are open. Otherwise, doors are shut everywhere. The first door itself, you are stuck in the gross body. You are not even moving to the subtle body. That's why the subtle body has to run through this water business of finding the leaks where mind intelligence is running through. Then that's why this is sharpening, that running through water of the looking at the finding the puncture where it is, where the holes are. It is like a sharpening your mind intelligence false ego, sharpening your subtle body. Gross body first you have to regulate, but on top of it, the next step, in order for otherwise, what will happen? Pratyahar. You're trying to control the gross body, but then the next level pratyahar doesn't happen. Then the mind is always running back to the sense objects. What you have done. Externally, you try to regulate. I'm waking up at this time. Nobody is there. Even when nobody is there, oh, people think that I don't. I'm living alone. I don't have anybody. No, whether you live alone or you live with 100 people, it doesn't matter because mind is the problem. Mind is bringing dussanga. That dussanga doesn't mean that it is only with people. No, your mind is bringing all kinds of associations from the past life and this life. So that is also, that is Dusanga means also not just people, it is also your mind's activities of thoughts of the previous sinful activity. It is bringing to the forefront. So that's why the mind must be sharpened. Intelligence must be sharpened. Then that sharpening is done through only sadhu. Saeva sadhu mokshadaram apavratam. Who is telling? Vasudev is telling that I am not saying. Atmano kavayo vidu. The great personalities have said this. There is no other way about it. Lord Krishna also says later on to Uddhava. Again and again, this is being throughout Srimad Bhagavatam. It is repeated in many of the Puranas also. Te punanti urukalena. Te punanti urukalena sadaya darsana deva sadava. You take all other process of austerity and penances so much. None of them will purify you. At the most, you purify gross body. But the proclivity, examples, you look at when the gross body is only purified, when the subtle body is not being purified under the guidance of a sadhus and shastra and guru, examples. You look at the Saubhari Muni. Saubhari Muni controlled his pranayam and pratyahar to some extent. Then he made an offense to Garuda. He stopped him. Then he saw some fishes are having union. Finished. Mind is not purified, is not practicing under the guidance. On top of it, he made an offense. Then what is going to happen? It is going to bring fruitive activity, the speculation, the thoughts, the mind is coming, it is bringing, intelligence is not sharpened. Rather, you are doing opposite against the religious principles. You are not following the sadhu and shastra guru. Rather, you are doing offense. Arana koriho mane asa. You are not supposed to. You are supposed to please the sadhu and shastra guru. Even if you don't do anything, don't take their but don't do offensive activities. Then the actual that brings even more. So then his mind intelligence is being completely under the control of the external energy. Finished. Then he went and got married. Almost many of the queens of the king, and he had all the nice, very old body. Then he used his mystic power to change into a new body, nice young body. Then all the queens, oh, I want to marry, I want to marry. Then all of them married. So this is the condition. So one example. Now there are many examples. Whether it's many, some of them are nice devotees also. So you can follow. That's why Shastra is telling. It is not that it is only at the time of initiation. No, it is not even at the stage. There are 10 stages. Adav Saddha, Sadhakanam Ayam Premno, Pradur Bhavet Kramat, Adav Shraddha, Tata Sadhu Sango, Tata Bhajana Kriya, Tata Anardhara Murtisya, Tata Anishta, Tata Ruchi, Tata Asakti, Tata Bhava, Prema Abhidanchati. The highest stage is ecstatic love, the Prema. The first one is Adav Shraddha, faith. That faith also will come from the associating with sadhus only. Susruso Jatadhanasya Vasudeva Kataruchi. That's where it starts. Madhav Shraddha, Tata Sadhu Sangha, then you start associating with devotees by your superior. That means it could be coming from Tulsi Marani, serving Tulsi Marani, offering obeisance to Tulsi Marani, offering Tulsi leaves to the deity. Not a single day should pass without doing these minimal activities. The original culture, that way in India, everybody used to have Tulsi. In today's world, I don't know. In India, there are some are following. But one must have. We don't have. We have to make that habit. We have to make that habit. No choice. Otherwise, we don't even have bhakti unmukha sukriti. We are not even getting it. On top of it, we are doing many offenses, knowingly or unknowingly. Then how are we going to come out of it? We are losing, debiting, but then where is the credit? So at least we have to make that habit. Whether we like it or not, we have to make that as a routine if we want it. Right? If somebody is getting $100 every day for doing very teeny work, who doesn't want it? Everybody wants it. So because we don't have that thought process, we don't have that what to say, spiritual intelligence, spiritual thought process behind that. I want these credits no matter what every day. We don't have that thought process. That's why we are not rigorously following it. If you understand the seriousness of it, then you will follow it. No matter what, I need to do this. Offering obeisance Tulsi Marani, offering Tulsi leaves every day to the deity. Picture, you can offer to the picture. But it has to be offered only to Vishnu Tattva categories. Krishna, Narayan, so like that. Not even in the hand of Lakshmi Devi you can put, hand of Srimad Radharani you can put, but only into the Vishnu Tattva category. It cannot be offered to neither Lord Shiva or Durga Devi or any other personality. It must be offered only to Vishnu Tattva category. So because that's where her business, Tulsi Maharani business, used to only to serve Krishna. No other business. It cannot be used in the medicine. It cannot be used in any other purpose. Period. Nowadays, everywhere you see Tulsi, and all other medicine purpose. But that is not the purpose. That is not the purpose. So the only purpose is to engage in the service of the Lord. After that, you can put in the water and drink it. You cannot waste. You have to eat. Tulsi leaves also should not be wasted. Everything, especially one which is offered many times, one who is wasting it is losing. Is debiting his credits. Is debiting the credits. Bhakti Unmukha Sukruti. One who is wasting Mahaprasad, one who is wasting the Charanamrut, one who is wasting the Tulsi leaves, offered Tulsi leaves, is not concerned about it. He just simply let it go. Then you are losing. Then that means because you don't have the. Otherwise, Shastra is clearly telling by Darsanadeva Sadhava, Te Punanti Urukalena. Very quickly you will achieve all the perfection by the sadhu. But we might be associating with the exalted personality, the Prabhupada, and his representatives. But why not? Because we don't have faith. We're not serving. We're not following his instructions. We're not even hearing his words first with rapt attention. Then where is the question of following? Because Bhagavad Buddhi is not there. We are thinking he's just a ordinary person, or at the most we are thinking he's some higher personality. We don't have conception. That's why Lord Krishna is telling to Uddhava, Acharya Mam Vijaniyam. I am the Supreme Lord. He is my representative. Actually, he is the Supreme Lord. Acharya Mam Vijaniyam. Actually, spiritual master is me. I am coming. I am Chaitya Guru, which is there in your heart as Paramatma. I am the one who is coming out as spiritual master. He is not different from me. He is clearly telling. Lord Krishna is telling Uddhava in 11th canto Srimad Bhagavatam. And that's why this verse is mentioned. Yasya deve para bhaktir. Yada devo tata guru. Tasyeva ikade prakasante mahatma. That's why there's one verse I quoted earlier. In that purport, Madhvacharya quotes, there are sages. Sadhava means sadhu, some sadhus are in the mixed modes, karma mishra bhakti, jnana mishra bhakti, not pure bhakti. They are lesser than demigods. In that context, Madhvacharya quotes a verse. But then on top of it, Sri Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur gives commentary. And Jiva Goswami also gives. Then he's correct. There is no actual difference of opinion here. Bhakti Siddhanta corrects, rather helps us to understand the position. When Madhvacharya quotes in that way, it means these sages who is talking about lesser than demigod, they are not pure bhaktas. Yes, then they are lesser than demigod. But Jiva Goswami is talking about those who are like Narada Muni, Prahlad Maharaj, they are exalted devotees, they are Mahajanas. They are not mixed modes. They are in the Uttama Bhakti. They are in pure devotion service. They are not Mishra Bhaktas. They are higher than demigod. Demigods can only give. You see the example, how many Narada Muni, how many devotees you can, how many, even the hunters, even the so much fallen conditions, so much. Mercy is given. Sadhu, Dina Vatsala. Lord himself doesn't give that mercy so easily. Only when the pure Nalakuvera Manikriya, how much sinful they were. They lost their composure. They are not even wearing the dress when Narada Muni walking in. Ladies put the dress, but Nalakuvera and Manikriya didn't even put the dress. But Narada Muni cursed them in such a way that they will become trees, but later on they will be delivered by Krishna himself. Imagine what kind of blessing that is. Directly seeing a darshana. That's why Nalakuvara Manigriva remember the Narada Muni's mercy. At the end, there is a beautiful verse. There is a beautiful verse which they quoted by Nalakwera and Manigriva, speaking to Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, describing. So he's talking about. One minute. Yeah, where he's talking about. वाणी गुणानुकथने श्रवणौ कथायां हस्तौ च कर्मसु मनस्तव पादयोर्न स्मृत्या शिरस्तव तव निवास जगत्प्रणामे दृष्टिः सतां दर्शने अस्तु भगवत्तरूणाम्. Henceforward, may all our words describe your pastimes. May our ears engage in oral reception of your glories. May our hands, legs, and other senses engage in actions pleasing to you. And may our minds always think of your lotus feet. May our heads offer obeisance to everything within this world, because all things are also your different forms. And this is the important last line. May our eyes see the forms of Vaishnavas who are non-different from you. Drushti satam darshane astu bhagavat tanunam. On this purport, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives commentary, exalted devotee in our Sampradaya, Vishwanath Chakravarti is called Rasika Acharya, Vishwanath Chakravarti, not ordinary, Chakravarti. So, in Acharyas. Prabhupada quotes in many places his commentary. So he is giving the quotation that the Lord is asking. You are saying Vaishnava Darshana. So the Lord is right there in front of him. How come that means I am not beautiful? Why don't you don't want to see my form? No, because who has given the blessings? Narada Muni has given the blessing. That's why I am seeing you. So that's the first I need to see him first. Without his mercy, I wouldn't have been even seeing you. So that's why it is important first when his devotee is pleased, then Lord will show his mercy. Otherwise, there is no question. That's what we will see even in Kurukshetra war or before that. In the Kanda of Prastha, the Maya Danava, he is running for his life. When Sudarshan, Krishna releases Sudarshan Chakra, then he goes. Then where did the Mayadana go? First he caught hold of Arjuna. Lord Krishna already released Sudarshan Chakra. When he caught hold of Arjuna, then Arjuna said, okay, Sudarshan Chakra, stop. Then it stopped. Because Lord Krishna has no choice. When his devotee gives shelter, then Lord Krishna has no choice. And Mayadana is asking, Arjuna, what do you want? I am very pleased by your protecting me, your mercy. What do you want? Arjuna said, I don't want anything. You ask my Lord. Then he asked, Lord has told them that yes, you build this beautiful building, the palace, the assembly hall for Pandavas. This is the quality, this is the consciousness of the devotee. Devotee never wants anything in return. Rather, he is always merciful. Sadhavo Dino Vatsala. Examples after example, how much merciful. That's why they are higher than demigods. That's why aham mam vijaniyam, acharya mam vijaniyam, na avamanyeda karichid. Don't think that sometimes this thought process is also there. We see that Guru is his body is defamed, or sometimes Guru is going through some seemingly external challenges, bodily challenges. What does that mean? We see that some or many may think that he is also getting the reactions. No, this is not the reaction. This is the past tense. We have to understand. The Guru is not getting like we are going through the karmic reactions. We are suffering. Guru is taking the karma of the disciples. That's why he is going through. Pandavas have suffered. Prahlad Maharaj suffered. Does that mean they are suffering the prarabdha karma? No. They are not going through the prarabdha karma. If prarabdha karma is suffered, then our bhakti unmukha sukruti is checked. We are not able to progress. That is our condition. Is that the condition of Prahlad Maharaj? No, that is not the condition. You will see Prahlad Maharaj, he was not, he was tolerating completely. He was not even asking any boon from Narsingadev. At any point of time, he is always blissful. He was not thinking of anything other than Krishna. He is rather thinking even to all other living entities, those who are putting him in distress. He is thinking about their deliverance. Naivod Vijay Paradurtya Vaitaranya Tadvirya Gayan Mahamrata Magnan Soche Tato Vimukata Indriyartha Maya Sukhaya Varam Vadbhato Vimudam. See, thinking, Lord, I cannot take your blessings. I am by Narada Muni's mercy, I have got this body. You are able to appear before me. So how can I, without thinking about all these conditions, those who are suffering, the Sanda, Namaka, like kind of people, then who's going to deliver them? I'm thinking about them. I'm very distressed about them. Naivod Vijay Paradurat Vaitaran Tad Virya Gayana Magna Chitta. I'm absorbed in your glories, thinking of your glories, how to spread your glories. Virya Gayana Mahamrata Soche Tato. I'm thinking. Soche Tato Vimukata Indriyartha Maya Sukaya. Those who are against Maya Sukaya Param, they're after this external energy, enjoyment. They are Vimukata, against your service, using things in your service. So I'm after them. So you think that Prahlad Maharaj is in the bodily concept of life? You think that Prahlad Maharaj is going through the karmic reactions? No. If he is karmic reactions, suffering karmic reactions, then he will not suffer. He will not have Bhakti Unmukha Sukruti. His Bhakti Unmukha Sukruti is checked right there, if it is karmic reactions. That's why in our state we are not able to progress. Because our Bhakti Unmukha Sukruti is checked. We don't have that Unmukha Sukruti. Because we are not enthusiastic. And you see Prahlad Maharaj, how much enthusiastic he was. You see Pandavas, how much enthusiastic they were throughout their life. And you see Srila Prabhupada throughout his life, how much enthusiastic. Till his last breath, he was enthusiastic. He was hardly eating, whole year he didn't eat. He hardly ate. But still he was speaking Srimad Bhagavatam. He's instructing. He was not thinking about himself, his body. Even till last breath, he was not thinking. Do you think that he's going through the karmic reaction? Is he operating on prarabdha karma? So this is what the position. This is why we are not getting blessings. We are not taking the full opportunity. We are not understanding the qualification of the spiritual master, the pure devotee's position. That's why Lord Krishna is emphasizing clearly. Na avamanyeta karijit. Minute you think that Guru is the ordinary body, minute you think that Guru is also just a higher personality, just like maybe a demigod, then there is no question. You are not understanding the person. It's an offense. We are not able to understand his position. There is no Bhagavad Buddhi, because if we are following Lord instruction as clearly saying, Acharya Mam Vijanyam, Na Avamanyata Karichit. That's why he's seriously instructing. Don't offend. Don't think that his body is also same as you. Na Buddhi Asuya Sarvadeva Mayo Guru is representative, rather representative of all demigods. So that is the thing we need to understand. That's why it is super important to hear, to associate with the exalted personality. So Prabhupada, especially, we have to read Prabhupada's books in the association of devotees, and we have to hear from Prabhupada also at least 10 minutes a day or once a week, whatever is possible within our capacity. Each person's lifestyle is different, time, place, circumstance, what they are going through. So at least we should have to make an habit, because Sri Prabhupada is the founder Acharya. He has given everything. He has spent his whole life to give these books, and he has recorded all these. His lectures are recorded. It is there in Prabhupadvani.org, Vedabase, Vani quotes.org, in so many places, vanisource.org, so many places it is there, on recorded like radio, it is there. In all these facilities are there, but we are not able to utilize, we are not able to understand that seriousness. That's why it is in this section it is mentioned pratyahar. Pratyahar, your mind will keep on going to the things, even though we purified the gross body, but because the subtle body is not purified, because we are in this anartha nivurti stage, Adha Tata Sadhu Sango, then we have to keep doing it. As you run through this water to find the holes, you have to go through this process. Or you go to market, what that guy will do? The market, the vegetables are always in India, they throw the water. They put the water every day so that they don't get dried, especially the leafy vegetables or some of the vegetables, they easily gets dried. They put ice or they put in a freezer or somehow or the other, they make it, keep it kind of fresh. Same way, we have to keep this intelligence, mind, false ego, the subtle body on the same aspect. Same, that means sharpening. That sharpening is happening through the Supreme Lord and his Tadiya, his representatives, Tulsi Maharani, the sadhus, in the association of devotees, as well whenever the exalted personalities come, we must hear from them, we must take the association, we must try to serve. This planning must be there before Jagannath Radha is coming. We have to plan. If you miss it, the huge mercy, Bhakti Unmukha Sukriti deposit is gone. But we are not realizing it. We are thinking, oh, this is next festival I can attend. If the same aspect, anybody will say that you are going to get $5,000 deposit if you do this 5 minutes thing, a small maybe few hours thing. Nobody will want to lose. Nobody will want to lose. But we are not able to capture that. The thought process is not there. We are not actually really losing our time and Bhakti Unmukha Sukriti by losing this opportunity to be there. Then that's where the problem is. Neither we are depositing more, neither we are purifying, and also neither we understand the sadhu's position. Then how are we going to progress? You tell me now. How are we going to progress? When the mind is going in all these directions, despite an external situation, we regulate it. First, regulation is in question mark. On top of it, even if you do that, then the mind in policy is running. And that's why in this verse, in these 4 verses we read, it is clearly mentioning concentrating the mind, bringing back the mind and controlling that, and then bring it to samadhi. Brahma Bhota Prasannatma Nasojana Kankshati. No, don't desire anything, don't lament for anything. That stage it has to come to. Then that's a neutral stage. Then the actual revelations will happen. Evam prasanna manaso bhagavat bhakti yogada bhagavat tattva vijnana mukta sangasya jayate. At that point, then your actual revelation of the confidential knowledge will be revealed. Right now, only little bits and pieces. We are getting some understanding of it. Some things we are following, but we are not really taking that. We are not operating on the full potential because the basic understandings of it and its regulation at the inner core chambers, it is not happening. Outer side may be a little bit happening, but inside it is not happening. Mind is a subtle level. Subtle level is the one which requires more and more. You keep brushing it. You have to keep watering it. The farmer, the business guy, the grocer is constantly doing that, or this tire shop guy is constantly doing that. Same way we have to do that too. Then only our practice, our actual bringing the mind and intelligence back into its original consciousness, then we'll be much more peaceful. No matter what happens every day, we rely on Krishna. This is Krishna's will. This is happening. We take it as will of providence. We move on. We don't. We accept it as it is. And we move on. Like Parikshit Maharaj accepted. Pandavas accepted. Prahlad Maharaj accepted. He didn't retaliate. Parikshit Maharaj didn't retaliate. Pandavas didn't retaliate. They took the guidance, what to be done, how to come out of the situations. Prahlad Maharaj, they didn't Samadhan, they didn't even ask the Lord, please protect me. No, they didn't, because they are such an exalted personality. Everything, Lord took care of it. Because Lord is there to protect such a personality who is completely dedicated, surrender everything to the Lord. He's not caring about anything. He's not attached to any result. What's going to happen to me? Whether it's Ambarish Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Narada Muni. So that's why te punanti urukalena sadhava darshana evacha. Simply by taking their darshan, done. But understanding their position, then that much quickly we'll be able to attain that success. So that's why it is super important to purify this subtle body, mind, intelligence, false ego. So already 8 to 11. We haven't even covered much, but let's see. Let's come through that. What we at least we give some essence of it. What these 4 verses are talking about. The first 24th verse is talking about this picture of determination, enthusiasm, and without deviation. We discussed that. And then the next verse is talking about San Indriya Gramam. The 25th verse is talking about also same thing. First and last actions are mentioned in these verses, which is first action is give up desires. Give up desires means material desires. Give up material attachments means you do like you are attached. Okay, I like to eat sweets. Okay, Baba, you offer to Krishna and you eat. Okay, you like to buy one more car. All right, use it in Krishna service. You buy groceries, you bring devotees, whatever. At least use whenever it is opportunity is there. You must use it. More you use any of those, your house, you call a program or you invite devotees like that. So I'm just giving examples. Then more you use in that way, then desire, material desire will be transformed to spiritual desires. There is nothing actual material about it. When as long as it is connected and used in service of the Lord, then it is no more material desire. It is spiritual desire. It becomes spiritual desire. That's what it means. It is not that we give. The soul is always having desires. Lord Krishna also has desires. That he wants all the sons and daughters to be back with him. But we are not going. We don't want. Free will is there. It is obstructing. He's not forcing. He cannot force. So that's why we have to understand that. That's what 25th verse is talking about. Give up your desire. That is the first thing. The last action is thinking, not thinking of anything at all. The mind, intelligence, false ego should not think, oh, this sense of, oh, I have done this, so let me. Mind is going, okay, I should associate with this, I should do this, the previous activities. No, it should stop doing that. Think of Krishna, Krishna's relation activities, but not the material things. That's what the 25th verse is talking about. And that's what Prabhupada is talking about. Sharpen your weapons. By serving the spiritual master, you keep your weapon always sharpened. And take help from Krishna. Words of spiritual master sharpens weapon. Esya prasadat bhagavat prasada. Prabhupada is quoting that. So then 26 and 27. Let's see. 26 and 27. Yeah, 26 is talking about from wherever the mind wanders due to its flickering and unsteady nature, one must certainly withdraw it and bring it back. Yeah, it is that is the same point. Yeah, and this is the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself has come to give this, the topmost. By chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, mind becomes subdued, and it must be done in the association. As at home we'll do, but in the try to associate in the association of devotees. If you can do that, it becomes habit because if 10 people are doing, you make it as a habit. Even though you can put on mute, you hear your only voice. You don't need to hear anybody else's voice. You hear your own voice, what you are chanting. We are supposed to hear exactly our own voice, whether we are chanting clearly each and every syllable of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. That is the purpose. But it makes a practice. Even if there is no call on one of the days, at least at home we will be able to wake up. Oh, I have a call. I used to have a japa call. I should wake up at this time. So you have a routine, just like your office was 9 to 5 or whatever the timing is. You make that as a routine practice, no matter what this is. Once in a while, there may be a change, but it makes it regulate our lifestyle, So that's why the association helps to bring it back. The mind, intelligence, false ego, they keep on purifying it by this association gradually. It becomes very much easy. It will bring it to the mode of goodness, and gradually it helps us to be more enthusiastic even in the goodness, not slacking. So that's why it is mentioned. Chirada tattam nijigutta vittam swapremna namamratam ati udara apamaram yo vidatara gaura krishno janebhyattam aham prapadde. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami offering that. Nobody has given this topmost. Swaprema namamratam, the highest Krishna prema has been given. So he's thinking about all universe are filled with conception of my majesty, but love is weakened by that sense of majesty, does not satisfy me. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is on reverence, because the rest of the Vaikuntha planets are imbued with this on reverence. But Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is thinking, oh, this is not enough. He's thinking this is weakened actually. Love is weakened. So that's why he has come specifically for higher things. If one regards me as the Supreme Lord and himself as subordinate, I do not become subservient to his love, nor can it control me. See? That's what. So that's why it has to be done with out of love. So that's the love must be there with Guru. Love must be there. Then we'll develop love with the Lord. First is representative. So first one must do service to his representative and love. Then gradually will develop. We parallelly do to the Lord also, but He will accept. That's why you have a problem, you ask, you present it to Lord Nityananda Prabhu through Sri Prabhupada and Lord Nityananda Prabhu. If you are not initiated, if you are initiated, then you present it to Guru, Sri Prabhupada and Nityananda Prabhu. Then they will solve it for you from the Lord. If you directly submit to the Lord, Lord may most of the time he may not do much reciprocation. But if you do through the Guru and Sri Prabhupada and Lord Nityananda Prabhu, then the Lord has no choice but to reciprocate to in some way, to some level. Because his devotees are asking, his devotees, it is going through his devotees, pure devotees. So then he has to reciprocate. He has no choice. Not in our difference, because all these devotees, Prabhupada is doing with everything with love, so much love. He's communicating, direct in communication. Otherwise, how could he say that? 10,000 years, my law books, my books are law books, going to be law books. How could he say that? How much confidence, how much he has in communication with the Lord, how much is in connection with the Lord. That's why he could see things. He could see before even starting the movement. He could see what is going to happen. He is telling before itself, because this is the direct in connection with the Supreme Lord through his Guru. So that he is directly seeing in communication, like Prahlad Maharaj is able to see Nrsimhadev right there, everywhere. But we are not in that one. That's why we have to understand their position is not what we think of. Not a material body, not even demigods, higher than that. So then more we understand their position and operate and pray, then things will change. Then things will change. So that's what we have to understand. This more and more. So the 27th also same thing. The yogis whose mind is fixed on me verily attain the highest perfection of transcendental happiness. He is beyond the mode of passion. Yeah. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma, that we discussed. And 28th is talking about Brahma Sparsyanam. Yeah, this I have mentioned. Then it is the last verse. Sparsanam means this sparsha is the touch, but the touch is most of the time we are not in Brahma Sparsanam, we are in Ya Sansparsaja Boga Dukha Yona Vayevati Adi Anta Vanta Ramate Buddha. Panditam na Ramate Buddha. Neither our senses are this Sansparsha is happening with all the material contact, not happening with the spiritual contact. So that's a it has to come from this is a Sansparsha, Bhoga Sansparsha, it has to transform into Brahma Sansparsha. Brahma Sansparsha means in connection with the Supreme Brahman, Parabrahman. The Brahman means we, when we are in the pure state, we are in Brahman. When the Supreme Lord is called Parabrahman. So that will be the Brahma Sansparsha. When it is ordinary state, the conditioned state, it is called Bhoga Sansparsha. We are always trying to, what is in it, what is the return? We are attached to the results. So then that is what 28th verse. If you want to be pratyahar, fixed up pratyahar, mind shouldn't be going anywhere, then rather we bring it back to Brahma Sansparsha. Don't be after this Bhoga Sansparsha. So it just brings misery. Adi Vanta Vanta. Beginning misery, ending also misery. Adi Anta Vanta. Panditam na Ramate Buddha. No enjoyment, no happiness. Seemingly, yes, there will be teeny happiness. Otherwise, you can't live in this world. There will be teeny happiness, but it is only flickering happiness. But more distress, more misery continues in the next life also. If you don't understand this how the material world works, so that's how these four verses are laying our ground how to purify our subtle body. Our time is already done. 8:20. We didn't even discuss anything about Ramananda Rai, but I can give a 5-minute gist of it. Ramananda Rai is the son of Bhavananda Rai, and he has 5 sons. Bhavananda Rai has 5 sons because they're representatives of Pandavas. 5 sons, 5 Pandavas. Ramananda Rai is Arjuna in that aspect. Different pastimes. In the previous Krishna Leela is Lalita Saki. In some Acharya say Vishaka Saki. Either way, it's not, both are confidential associates. You will see in Mayapur, in other places, Lalita and Vishaka Sakis. They are directly serving Srimati Radharani, just like Subhal and Sridham. They are serving Krishna on the Srimati Radharani side. They both are confidentially serving. Same way, Ramananda Rai and Swarup Damodar Goswami are the confidential. There are 3.5 personalities who are discussing. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is discussing confidentially. He is not discussing Krishna, especially the most confidential topics, Madhurya Ras, on those topics, Rasalila or any of those topics, songs of Vidyapati or the Chandidas Jaydev Goswami. We are not supposed to read. We're not supposed to read. We're not supposed to read those. Once in a while, if we hear, that's fine, by situation or something. But because we are not qualified, they are at the highest level. Our mind will just, it's not going to do any good for us. Yes, Dashavatara Stotra, all right. But the books, the most confidential topics, which these three authors has written, that is specific. That's why he didn't discuss. He discussed only with 3.5%. One is Ramananda Roy, Vishaka Saki, Swarup Damodar Goswami, Lalita Saki, and then Siki Mahiti, another confidential associate, and Siki Mahiti's sister, Madhavi Latha. And these are the 3.5 personalities. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, confidential, anything which is very confidential, the highest rasas, he discussed with them only. He didn't discuss with anybody else. He didn't discuss with anybody else. Philosophy and all, he discussed with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, then 6 Goswamis. He gave all the topics, more and more about what to write, how to instruct living entities, all the details have been given. But obviously 6 Goswamis, especially Rupa Goswami, is the in charge and the leader of all of them, and he could understand the inner mood and desire of the Rupa Goswami, inner mood of the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that is there. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is directly showing the example that these confidential topics cannot be discussed. We are not supposed to ask about Srimati Radharani's position, what she does, and what the dealings are. We are not at that level. So we cannot discuss those. On Radhastami day, yes, we can discuss to some extent. That's what Srila Prabhupada also did. Sukadev, what is our position? Sukadev Goswami himself is not discussing directly in Srimad Bhagavatam. And 10th canto is discussing, but is not bringing Srimati Radharani's name directly itself. And he has become unconscious few times as is while discussing Srimad Bhagavatam, while describing as well in 10th canto and other places. But by Parikshit Maharaj and others, again, he brought to consciousness. So because he's in highest exercise, that's a minute he brings Srimad Radharani's name, and then that's it. He will not be able to speak because he is the parrot. He is the servant of the Srimad Radharani. So he will not be able to control himself. So that and many other reasons. It is confidential topics. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is showing. We should follow the principles given by the Acharyas. So Prabhupada, what he has given, we have to follow. This way, Ramananda Raya is in that way exalted personality, not ordinary personality. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself is requesting, asking, you instruct me. You instruct me. He is teaching us. He is teaching in Bank of Godavari in Rajahmundry. Is also called Vidyanagar. So there, the ninth chapter or eighth chapter or ninth chapter in Madhya Leela Chaitanya Charitamrita, Ramananda Raya conversation with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is given. But in summarize in short form, I'll tell you. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked Ramananda Raya, what is the ultimate goal of life? Can you describe? Can you explain? That is the question. That is the main question. The whole conversation, this is the question. This is the one and only question. Then Ramananda Rai started describing. First he described the ultimate goal of life is to follow Swadharma, Varnashrama Dharma, Swadharma. Same thing in Bhagavad Gita, you look at in chapter 2, Krishna first thing, what did he say? After body and soul thing, what did he say? First thing he told, follow your Dharma, Baba, you are Arjuna, you are Kshatriya, you are coming from Kshatriya dynasty, you should follow your Dharma. Forget about this body and soul. What happened to your duty? Same thing, Ramananda Rai, because he's Arjuna. Arjuna is Ramananda Rai, the same personality. So that's why he's putting the same thing. Varnashramacharoda Purushena Puman Vishnor Aradhyate Nanya Tattva Karana. This is the first topic means. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, no, this is external. This is not possible. In Kali Yuga, not everybody is not. Who is following Varnashrama system? He's teaching. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is teaching. No, this is external. Iho Bahya, Age Kaho Aar. Ramananda Rai is asking. Then Ramananda started next describing Karma Mishra Bhakti. He is describing I should living entity should work for Krishna. Yat karoshi, yat juhoshi, yat dadasi, yat konteya. Tat kurushva madarpanam, karmarpanam. Krishna karmarpanam is talking about next. Swadharma, Krishna karmarpanam. I should work. Whatever, if I am eating, I should offer and eat. If I am working, I should offer some results and take. So like this, somehow connect with Krishna. Then he said, this is also external. Iho bahya, age koho ar. So then he described No, karma tyag. Karma tyag. So, giving up the results. Then, then further he went on. This is yeah, sarvadharman parityajya. Parityajya. All dharmas, just surrendering. Sarvadharman parityajya mam ekam dharamam. That is the aspect he is talking about. Um, or sadharma tyag. So same thing. And then he is bringing Gnana Mishra Bhakti. Gnana Mishra Bhakti. Then he is talking about Brahma Bodha Prasannatma Na Sochit Na Kankshati. Sama Sarveshu Bhuteshu Na Bhakti. Before that, I think he is talking about Gnana, the Gnana Mishra Bhakti, both are at once. So first is the Swadharma, then Karma Mishra Bhakti, then Gnana Mishra Bhakti. In the 18th chapter also, second chapter also same thing. In 18th chapter also, Lord Krishna is describing the same aspect in the same way, same context. The 18th chapter is divided into sections, starting with the same Swadharma, then Karma Mishra, Gnana Mishra, Yoga Mishra, then full pure devotion service. In a short form, not lengthy. So in this way, 18th chapter, second chapter also, that's how it is divided. That's why Bhagavad Gita must be understood very systematically. We have to read systematically, we have to hear systematically. Then it makes sense and how to apply it. We have to read again and again in this pattern. Then it makes sense and application it becomes easy. We don't understand, we don't connect what Krishna is saying. It becomes difficult to practice. So that's why it is very important in the association of devotee. We must discuss, try to understand things. So the Karma Mishra, Jnana Mishra, then further Mahaprabhu said, no, this is not possible. Who is surrendering? Who Sarvadharma Parichay Krishna told in Bhagavad Gita, but who has done it? Who is giving up? Nobody is following. Who is giving up? This is also Yehovah, Age Gohovar. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, further Ramananda then said, then he talked about first point. Then Mahaprabhu was okay, all right. Yes, now it makes sense. Now, tell me more. What is that point? This is the Brahma's prayers. This is the first point. When Arjuna asked the first question, who is the self-realized devotee? How does he walk? How does he sit? This is the first and foremost answer Krishna is giving. We just discussed earlier also. Gnane prayasam utapasya namanta eva sanmukaritam bhavadiya vartam stane sudigatam tanuvan manovir ajita jitopyas trilokyam. So one must give up speculations. Depend on the mercy of Guru. Don't depend on your strength, on your wealth, on your scholarship, on your beauty. Depend on the Guru. Depend on the Lord and His representative. Mercy, strength, everything you have to draw like a bank. You have to withdraw from the spiritual master, asking for intelligence, asking for spiritual strength. Then it purifies our subtle body. That's when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, yes, this is all right. Because anybody and everybody can practice. It is not a question of whether you are Brahmana or Kshatriya or Vaisya or Sudra or loyal, whatever. You might be eating meat, whatever the case may be. Anybody and everybody. There is no bar. It's just need to simply give up your own ideas and thoughts. So that's why because this is the first and foremost thing to do. Because we have come from certain backgrounds, certain thought process. Oh, Krishna means, oh, no, Vishnu is the topmost. Krishna is incarnate. Or demigod, Lord Shiva is the topmost. We could be coming up with our own ideas and thoughts. Or Brahman is the topmost. Brahman effulgence is everything. Or Durgama is the topmost. All these, so many, not even one. I'm just giving some examples. All these kind of philosophies and thoughts. Anything and everything we do is okay. You can eat meat, you can do everything. You just do some gymnastics and yoga. That is also okay. Then you will see some kundalini. All these philosophies, so many philosophies are there. Or you chant Om, everything will be perfect. That you'll be able to attain perfection. No, Shastra is clearly telling you what you are not supposed to do, what you are supposed to do. There is nowhere Shastra is telling you can eat whatever you like, but then you will perfect if you chant this. No, Shastra is not telling that. So that's why it must be understood. That's why he is telling, give up first. If you want to understand if you want to transcend to the spiritual world, if you want to transcend your modes from lower modes to higher modes, first thing you have to do is give up your own ideas. Give up your own ideas. That's where the problem is. You are not able to recognize spiritual masters. You are still thinking he is the ordinary living entity. He has also body like us. He is also suffering. Where it is coming from? Speculation. because we are not following the authority. We are not following the Prabhupada books. We are not following the sadhus words, understanding sadhus words. So that's where the problem is. So that's why Krishna is telling until that point rejected. He rejected everything. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In Kali Yuga, first thing you have to do is you give up your own speculations. Gnane prayasam vadapasya namanta eva. Then you talk about devotion. Then you talk about transcendental point. So that's when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gets pacified. Then he says, first, this is the first and foremost, very important point. Lord Rama's prayers, this verse is there. Then you will be able to control. Until that, Lord cannot be controlled. Ajita, he will never be able to be controlled. Conquered. When he will be conquered, Tanuvan Manobi, when you use your mind, body, words in the service of the Lord and his representative, that's when he will be conquered. That's when it. Then further, no, you tell me more. You told Jnana, this Tyaga, give up your speculations. Karma, karma tyag, jnana tyag. Give up your own ideas. Take the ideas, mercy, everything from the Supreme Lord through a bona fide representative. Then he says, now the next level is because there should be some mellow. What I am getting, I am okay, all right, I am giving you, I engage my body, mind, body, words. What I am going to get? There should be some rasa, there should be bliss, there should be happiness, right? Otherwise, how will we survive? And that's when Mahaprabhu said, all right, you speak more. Then he started talking about dasya ras. Now, dasya prem. This is the next thing, higher thing. So Dasya Prem is servant. You become a servant. How Dasya? We haven't realized. We are being given the name Das. Everybody calls Das. But we have to remember this. We are not yet qualified to become Das. We are being given Das so that we practice it. And we haven't perfected. When we become perfect of this Das, DAS or DOS, whatever you spell it, then you enter into the spiritual world. Then your body will become spiritualized fully. Das means you do out of love fully, 100%. There is no question of ifs and buts, there is no question of deviations. That is what Das means. You see in India, at least 20, 30, 40 years ago, servant, what you will do? What dog will do? Dog will follow exactly what master will ask to do. He will do. He will only if master gives food, he will eat. If not, no, he will not. He knows. Dog will know, or the servant also knows that he will come and give me love, give me love out of love. Because if somebody is serving day after day, what kind of master who doesn't serve, who doesn't take care of his servants? Definitely, they will take care. So this is where, because there is a loving reciprocation. So that's why it is very important. If you want to become Das, the first and foremost point we have to understand in this, that's why Dasya Prem is the next level. Because there is no question otherwise. One must do service with love to the devotees and the Supreme Lord, with affection. Then we will constantly think of him, just like our family, wife and children, we constantly think what he likes, what he wears, what tomorrow is going to take for lunch, what dress is going to wear, today is birthday or tomorrow is birthday, what I should buy for him. So, or he will ask. Constantly, parent and child, they are thinking. So then the same thing, Supreme Lord will be thinking, because the rasa is coming, the affection is coming, the love is coming. Naturally, it has to arise. This is actually meaning of Das. We are being called Das, so that we practice it, and we have to realize the actual position of a Das. And Das Anu Das. We have to become a Das of a devotee. Then we will be able to enter into the spiritual world. Then we will actually really spiritualize the body in this world itself. Like Pandavas, in the same body they went. They complete no more material body, spiritual body. A few other examples are there in Srimad Bhagavatam like that. Some they gave material body, transformed to spiritual body, and then they went. As they go through the higher planets, the fiery planet is there below Susumar, then they get purified. They enter either into the Krishna's planet where Krishna is performing first, then next life they will go to spiritual world, or some of the cases directly also. But most of the cases generally they enter into spiritual world. They enter into the Krishna's planet where Krishna is performing in one of the universe, then they will go. So in the Shastra is clearly giving this way, and then Mahaprabhu asks further, speak further. Dasya Prem, then he talks about Sakya Prem. friends, friendship rasa. Then you know, further you speak more. Then he talks about Vatsalya rasa, Yashoda, Nanda and Yashoda. Then he says, no, speak more. Then he talks about Madhurya rasa. Then there he describes more and more. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not satisfied. He described many verses, all the way to the Srimati Radharani's love. Even out of all the gopis, Srimati Radharani has the topmost love. So all those confidential topics, which I'm not going to discuss, I'm not at that level to discuss, but I gave that brief summary of what actual conversation, the Ramananda Raya Samvad with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Samvad, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Samvad, or Ramananda Raya Siksha, whatever, you can term it either way. But the gist of is that starting with Swadharma to all the way to Madhurya Ras, various levels, 8 or 10 different steps. The question is only one: what is the ultimate goal of life? This was the only question asked by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then he is interfering in between that this is not the answer. Go further. In this way, this whole conversation of Ramananda Raya's position has been explained. So thank you very much for patiently listening.